At 16 and feeling lost, I got a big inheritance. I was torn about the windfall. I loved the pocket money, power, and charisma it afforded me, but feeling lost, I knew I didn't deserve it. It ate at me. Doing something world-changing felt like the only way I could justify it. 4 years later, halfway through my junior year at college, I dropped out because I still didn't know what to do with myself. Life had gotten too abstract for me. I felt incredibly anxious and ambivalent. I sensed that I needed a reality check. I gave myself a month to find something hands-on to do. The month passed with me farting around, though increasingly anxious about it. I looked into the Peace Corps, but they only take college grads. I asked a family friend if I could work at his restaurant, but I didn't follow through. I needed something grander than that. Then, on the last day of the month, I was loafing around alone in my parents' house when one of my mom's work colleagues called. I took a message. He called to say he was leaving to join a back-to-nature hippie commune in Tennessee called The Farm, with chapters all over, including one nearby. It sounded ideal, very hands-on, farming, carpentry, nursing. It even had its own hippie Peace Corps. That afternoon, I visited the local chapter. A week later, I joined, which entailed signing a vow of poverty. You join without personal possessions. You didn't have to give yours to the commune, but I did, my full inheritance. I remember the moment I decided I was fine with that. My ambivalence about the inheritance had been eating at me long enough. I lived in that commune for 7 years, including a 3-year stint with our hippie Peace Corps in Guatemala, getting water to poor villages. It was like boot camp for the wuss I was, just the self-discipline I needed. The farm wasn't your stereotypical anything-goes free love commune. Journalists called us the Technicolor Amish because though we wore tie-dyes, we were strict, almost prudish. No alcohol, no sex before marriage, treat women with the utmost respect. The peer pressure there was intense. I study cults now. Whether the farm was a cult or not, I was definitely cultish about it. Being there in that cozy bubble, I felt like I'd solved reality. My lifelong anxieties, not just about the inheritance, but everything, vaporized on entry. I was at peace, like my heart was purged of all that internal traffic congestion. I felt absolutely doubt-free and complete. I gloated to outsiders about our heroic crusade to save the world. I decided to leave when I was away for a week. Seeing it from the outside, our internal inconsistencies got too glaring. I'm so glad I had the experience. I needed the boot camp. The timing was perfect. If you slouch through your 20s, it's hard to ramp up after. I made great lifelong friends, and the commune's complete answers were the springboards to my next questions. Most of all, though, I'm grateful to have experienced the bubble rapture relief, that sense of completeness and integrity, like I'd solved reality. I see in MAGA the kind of behavior I saw in myself. When I left the commune, I finished college studying Soviet history. In the Soviet cult, I saw the same false sense of completeness, that know-it-all, doubt-purging, solved reality, save the world appetite I had on the commune. In the fall of the Soviet Union, I saw myself too. Leaving the commune, I was disoriented, thrown back into doubt, anxiety, and self-doubt. Doubt about whether I had what it takes to deal with my doubts. I could no longer claim to have perfect integrity. I struggled with my own inconsistencies, which was proof I hadn't solved reality after all. Retiring a lost cause is like quitting an addiction. It's humbling, even humiliating. Very much the feeling an addict gets when they sober up. Most of the folks who study cults are former cult members. I suspect that's one of the reasons there's so much focus on brainwashing. It's like alcoholics telling themselves they were the innocent victims of a disease that nature inflicted on them. No doubt they are. Still, that's not the part they can control. There will always be alcohol, just like there will always be brainwashers. The question is what to do if we don't want to fall for it. I say recognize your appetite for heart purging. that sense of complete consistency that I had on the commune. Recognizing your heartache appetite to be released from all doubt, you have a better chance of resisting the many brainwashers who promise us and you relief. In math, we distinguish between completeness and consistency. By completeness, we mean an all-encompassing system, nothing it can't address. By consistency, we mean perfect integrity, paradox-free, no talking out both sides of your mouth, no hypocrisy. From the beginning of human history, folks have wanted both. Some folks claimed it. For example, Christianity, which claims the 800,000 word Bible is the total package, complete and consistent laws that cover all our actions. Philosophers didn't claim it, but sought it. It was elusive from the start. For example, the liar's paradox from 600 BCE. This statement is false, which is true if it's false and false if it's true. It's inconsistent, or what mathematicians call undecidable, since it toggles back and forth unresolved. During the early 1900s, some math geniuses went at the campaign for complete consistency whole hog. They tried to develop a complete system of laws that eliminated all potential inconsistencies, no potential undecidables. Their effort culminated in a 2,000-page book, Principia Mathematica, that was to be the first in a series. It got only a little further than a rigorous defense of 1 + 1 = 2. Laugh if you like, but I think it was a smart effort and impressive that they gave it up. There were no more in the series because in 1931, the math whiz Kurt Gödel published a short paper that proved it couldn't be done. Any complete math would be unable to eliminate inconsistency. Any consistent math would be incomplete. As much as we'd like the know-it-all power of complete consistency, it can't be had. Not even in math and logic, our most rigorously exacting attempts to find it. Here's a video dialogue with God I crafted to try to illustrate the problem. Here I'm interested in the human appetite for consistency and completeness, which I felt so deeply on the commune, just like the communists, Trumpists, and dare I say us liberals do. It's a human thing. Don't panic, it's organic. Complete consistency is the romantic dream of happily ever after that lives in all of us and can't be met in reality. Xenophobia originally meant fear of the uncertain, fear of paradoxes, undecidability, and doubt. It has come to mean fear of foreigners or bigotry in general, outsiders, and in a way that makes sense. Paradox originally meant other opinion. But what if you discover another opinion in yourself? That you're ambivalent, of two minds about something, which I'd call a contradox. Contradoxes result in paradoxes, by which I mean like what the logicians did when stepping outside of the liar's paradox to declare it undecidable. Or like when you're in an argument with someone that cycles long enough that you start talking about your argument and then start arguing about your argument, as in this illustration of family squabble. It's like a circularity in your software programming or spreadsheet. You get an error message from outside the loop saying this is undecidable. That's what doubt is like. It's an alarm that irritates to get your attention. Dude, what the fuck? You're thinking in circles. Resolve this shit. I've long been interested in the difference between hypocrisy and irony, and I think this helps to clarify. A hypocrite lives in a bubble that they claim covers everything, completeness that denies any inconsistency. To be a hypocrite, you only need to be consistent about one thing, the claim that you're absolutely consistent. Deny all ambivalence. That's the bubble rapture. It's like setting your computer so it gives you no error messages. Irony admits to internal inconsistency while seeking consistency. It gives up on completeness. It's what I call being intellectually bicurious. When you hear or feel other folks or your own ambivalences, it makes an ironist curious. An ironist is okay with being ejected from their bubble. Ironic humor dances in and out of the bubbles, like, no, really, I'm just kidding, or that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I'd argue that all humor, from peekaboo to the most sophisticated wit, has an ironic in-out quality to it. Irony dances in the spaces between anything goes and only my thing goes. It's an iffy, nomadic existence that harbors a dinghy of doubt no matter where it settles. I know some folks find Trumpy snark humorous, but I'd call that something else. Glee, the giddy titillation of throwing stones at the inconsistencies of those outside one's glass bubble of pretend complete consistency. Trumpism is humorous, like cult in general. It's a hypocritical, I can see your hypocrisy, which proves I have none. That would be popular, even epidemic, as the world gets more complicated and ambiguous. Just like my lurch to join the commune out of desperation about my own inconsistencies. Indeed, that's why I don't bet the farm was a cult, even though I was cultish about it. For a gaggle of 1,500 naive romantics, we were pretty good at making fun of our inconsistencies. The exit door swung freely. We made great friends with our radically conservative Tennessee neighbors. I was the fire chief for the nearby town. Contrary to popular piffle, minds aren't computers. Minds only wish they were. I call it Robo-Envy, the dream of having the perfect algorithm that solves all of reality completely and consistently. Still, minds are virtual computer makers. We crave habits because we need them. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Our world is a clusterfuck in flux. Our minds flood with iffy possibilities and doubts about what to do. Anxiety or doubt is an alarm that goes off when we're ambivalent, stuck with something undecided. The alarm turns off when we resolve an ambivalence down to a habit we can run automatically, like a robot. We make gazillions of decisions all day by unconscious habit. There's no solving reality once and for all like I dreamed there was on the commune, or like MAGA, the Soviets, and other cultists insist they've found. We can wake up, but only to greater doubt tolerance and curiosity, answers as springboards to next questions. We can pretend we've solved reality and become know-it-all saints, but that's a devil's bargain. I once was lost, but now I'm completely found is always I once was lost, but now I'm blind. That is, you can get addicted to your sense of complete consistency, like you've solved reality, but only if you stay in your glass bubble, ignoring your inconsistencies while throwing stones at your rivals' inconsistencies. The best you can hope for is that you'll die happy before you have to give up your glotaholic addiction. If you do, you'll have spent your life indulging in a fantasy that distracts from reality, which ain't fucking around. And you'll probably have done more harm than good. Think of how many people have died fighting holy wars against other equally lost in heart-purging addictive fantasies of inconsistency-denying completeness. Many of which include cultish reassurances that they'll be rewarded with eternal peace in the hereafter. Whether it's Jim Jones' Kool-Aid promise to his cult, the major religion's dream of heaven, spiritual nirvana, or nationalist heroism like we're seeing in the Trumpists, dying within the cult, that's the best you can hope for. A life addicted in a glass bubble throwing stones, awaiting a hereafter that ain't coming. The alternative for cult addicts is to someday retire your lost cause, kick the addictive habit, and get back to the disappointing, ongoing work of dealing with your inconsistencies, admitting that integrity isn't something one possesses or achieves once and for all, but something you have to work for lifelong. And an offer. If you're working at it, and you've hit a snag, a doubt that's been eating at you too long, and as a result, self-doubt about whether you have what it takes to deal with your doubts, email me for a free half-hour consulting session. Doubt management is my thing. My first book is ironically titled Negotiate with Yourself and Win, Doubt Management Skills for People Who Can Hear Themselves Think. I'm in the doubt management business. I could take a tax write-off every time I doubt myself, and still that shit itches me like wool underwear as much as it does the next guy. I'm an ambivalence whisperer. I listen as carefully and neutrally to you as I can and help you ease into figuring out ways to resolve your ambivalences by your standards. It can be like helping folks ease into a negotiation between their present and future self. Get in touch if you're curious and can tolerate that level of curiosity. Thanks.